Get some gaming done. Chores are out of the way. Alright, let's pull this mic over. Alright. I can't wait to do some Mythic Plus this week, man. My favorite dungeon, Lower Karazhan, is so fun to do. I'm glad Blizzard finally decided that hard dungeons are better. We should not cater to the casual player base, alright? Hard dungeons are good. Wait. What's this? Lower Karazhan nerfs? What do you mean, Blizzard? Now what am I gonna play? Ladies and gentlemen, it has finally happened. Blizzard has decided to nerf Lower Karazhan into the ground. Yes, one of the toughest dungeons of Season 4 of Shadowlands is finally getting in line with the other 7 dungeons. And Blizzard decided, you know what? Let's nerf it, right? No one's having fun in these dungeons. They're way overtuned. There's too many mechanics. So let's nerf it into the ground. So, they came out with the first set of nerfs, which we've already talked about. They clearly didn't do anything or didn't do enough to fix the problems because people were still not playing the dungeons. Now, they came out with some more nerfs, which came out on August 22nd. Blizzard was like, you know what? We actually didn't nerf the dungeon enough. So we just came out, we just gutted the dungeon. We just absolutely ruined the dungeon. Well, not ruined, but we're just gutting it, right? They say here, we wanted to give players time to relearn mechanics in returning dungeons before making large nerfs. However, Lower Karazhan continues to stand out as an outlier in difficulty. So we're making larger changes to bring it in line with the difficulty of the other dungeons in Season 4. Now, if you've done Lower Karazhan and then you've done any of the 7 other dungeons, mechanically and, you know, damage intake wise, they are crazy easy compared to Lower Karazhan. Lower Karazhan has multiple interrupts in every single pack, multiple CC abilities that happen from the mobs. You know, you have to kill specific things in certain orders and all these things. It is just such a terrible time. So we are glad that they are finally gutting it, but let's get into the juicy nerfs that have finally happened. Several skeletal ushers are taking a break from protecting the Opera Hall. Great decision. If you don't know what the strategy currently is in Lower Karazhan, it is to kill the Opera event, clear all the trash all the way up into the Opera Hall, right? And then some people like to clear the middle pack, some people don't, and then you die and run. Like, you take the secret doorway to Morose. You don't even deal with this room because of the skeletal ushers. If you pull more than 2 of these at a time, it is basically a wipe. There is too much damage going on. So it is good to see that they finally are fixing these guys or trying to solve the issue with them. Several skeletal ushers have relocated to account for their partners taking a break. This is probably them just, you know, changing the location a tad bit so you can't just like mind soothe walk past them, right? They're going to be in the middle of a doorway or something like that, which is a fine change, right? Because you should still have to fight these guys if you are, you know, going this direction. Arcane Warden and Skeletal Ushers now contribute more credit to enemy forces. Really good change because these are 2 of the most deadly mobs in the entire dungeon, and you got so much less, didn't get enough credit for killing them, right? You could kill an entire pack of mobs and get the same amount of credit, and it took like a minute less time to kill them. So great change. Spectral Valet's demoralizing shoutcast increased to 3 seconds was 2 seconds. Great change, right? This cast basically going off doesn't wipe you necessarily, but having a 20% damage reduction on all of your abilities is terrible. And if you're running, you know, 3 spellcasters, having that extra second to maybe get an interrupt off cooldown or something like that to be able to interrupt it is great. Not to mention these guys are generally in packs where you are interrupting like the curses and, you know, the damaging abilities or like the Firelands portals and things like that, right? That are way more important than this ability per se, right? Like they all are very important to interrupt. So it is good to see that they are increasing the cast time. Cold Cold Mist Widow's Cosmic Venom damage over time reduced by 50%. I don't even know what this is because I've never went into the Spider Cave. So you guys tell me if this is a good nerf or this is bad nerf, because I have no idea. Now, this is a great nerf. Phantom Guardsman will no longer cast Shield Slam. This ability sucked, right? But it's not because of it being a frontal or anything like that. Its animation was so hard to see when it was under a rug, or it is a gray animation of dust on a gray dusty floor. Very difficult to see. Personally, I don't think they should have removed the ability. They really should have just changed the ability color to like a brown or like a red or something to make it more visible. And then I don't think it would be much of a problem. Ghostly Chef will no longer cast Cleave. Don't know what this mob is. Never pulled it. I don't know why you would ever pull this mob, because it is in the kitchen, which well, at least I've never went into, and any group I've ever watched has never went into. Same with the Ghostly Baker. You guys tell me in the comment section if you think that these nerfs are good or if they're bad or whatever, because I've never personally went in there, so I'm not too sure. Now, the following abilities will no longer be cast on nearby target if their current target is out of range. That is just great. Both of these abilities, right? Like, Fervent Strikes are the worst thing in World of Warcraft, right? Because on necrotic weeks, or you're running because you're taking too much damage as a tank, right? You need to get out of melee to, recoup your defensives or your runic power or your energy or whatever it is. And then these guys just straight up go and destroy you, right? Go and destroy your melee DPS or your healer or something like that. Just remove any ability that does this, or at least change them so they no longer do this. Like, that is a great thing. Opera Hall Westfall story nerfs. This is great. Nerf everything about this fight, not just the Westfall story, but all the other ones as well. They do way too much damage. This is basically the make or break of the key until you've gotten to Maiden of the Virtue at the very end. Basically, if you couldn't kill this boss, you're not timing the key. And if you do kill this boss, you're generally pretty good on time. You just have to kill Maiden, obviously, with the damage check with the shield, which I'm pretty sure they removed or nerfed again. But we will get to that. Great nerf the first boss as much as possible. Morose, grow damage reduced by 15%. Good change. And yeah, okay. I remember they said that they put a 1 minute duration on it, so I am glad that they're actually showing that it has a 1 minute duration, because it was not showing that whenever I did this key. But also reducing the damage by 15% is really good, right? Because it does specifically target your healer first, and your healer taking a crazy amount of damage is just not a good thing, especially on a boss fight that they can't deal with, right? Because if they do deal with it correctly by Kyrian potting it or dwarfing it off or bubbling it off or whatever, he just redoes it the next time he casts it, right? So it is good to see that this did get nerfed. Nerfing Morose is always a good thing because he is also a very tough boss, though he isn't the toughest in the entire dungeon. Atumin the Huntsman. Alright. Mounted Strike will no longer be cast on near my target if his current target is out of range. Great change. Fervent Strikes suck. I don't know why they ever implemented these into the game. I am glad they are all gone. And they resolved an issue where Atumin the Huntsman would resume casting Intangible Presence. I actually heard about this. A couple of my guildies were doing this key, and they said that he would just start doing this ability again, even though they removed it apparently. So it is good to see that they fixed that issue, because that is so stupid. That is so stupid. Maiden of Virtue, finally, more Maiden nerfs. Sacred Ground damage reduced by 20%. Now, I personally don't think this should do very much damage. If this is the dot, I'm not too sure if this is the dot. If this is just the ground effect, yeah, it should do a ton of damage. But they should reduce the damage of the dot to the dot only does a little bit of damage, because you are really only using it to remove repentance. So the fact that groups are going to using Scarred from the Jailer and trinkets that damage themselves or abilities that damage themselves over doing the mechanic correctly just shows you that maybe that ability should be nerfed a little bit. So I don't know if this was directly towards that, where people were choosing to just not do the mechanic correctly but using alternative methods, or if this was a problem, the ground effect actually was doing way too much damage. I'm not too sure, because I just step in it for a second and come out and it didn't really do too much damage. But you guys let me know if that is a good change. Obviously, Holy Bulwark absorption reduced by 15%. Great change. DPS checks that completely wipe you in dungeons do suck, because everything for the key could be going perfectly fine, and then you just don't have the cooldowns to hit that shield. And I understand that, you know, doing enough damage is part of the game. It's part of the dungeon. It's part of doing the key level, but it also just sucks. So I'm glad they are reducing this, especially in the lower keys when people don't really understand the repentance mechanic, right? If 1 or 2 people do it correctly, you should be able to break the Holy Bulwark at a low enough key now, which is really good to see. But yeah, Lower Kara looks like it got nerfed into the ground, but we will see with this upcoming week how many people are actually doing that dungeon. In comparison, I'm pretty sure Upper Kara last week had about 11,000 dungeons at a 15 or higher completed, whereas Lower Kara was at like 3,000. So we will see going into the next week how many people actually do this dungeon now with the nerfs, how easy it is. I will be going in there myself and doing the dungeon as well, and I will let you guys know how easy it is or how difficult it is, if it needs to be nerfed even more. But let me know what you guys think of the nerfs. You know, don't forget to subscribe, hit that like button, share the video with a friend, share it with people that are talking about the nerfs, whoever, right? Comment down below, you know, everything you think about the dungeon. If you think they over nerfed it, if you think they haven't nerfed it enough, just let me know. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace out.